for now. Sí, excelente. Y muy buenos días. Muy buenos días. ¿Cómo están ustedes? ¿Bien?
Bien,
Bien. Bien.
¿Bien?
Ujú.
Para lunes. Fantástico. Excelente. Entonces, vamos a practicar claro, con reflexivos y con otras cosas. Y, y me imagino que ustedes van a tener algunas preguntas. Ah, a ver, y quiero saber primero, ah, porque yo les dije esto. This was your listening
ujú,
and notice the thing that I kind of liked about this, which was sort of a fun for listening comprehension video, was that the story is not exactly the same, but she tells it at different levels at the three separate segments, so that you heard the very easiest to something kind of in the middle to something harder. I do want to know if you had any questions about that. Although, see, Marcos, you'll have to take yourself off of mute.
I had a question and then a comment. So my question was at 5 minutes and 36 seconds. And I mean, I can pretty well guess what she was trying to say, but it was not, it was not it was not the English equivalent. The phrase there was "dase un baño," which, we would say take a bath, but that's give a bath, right?
Ah, sí. Es equivalente. That's pretty just equivalent. Yeah, yeah.
So that's just the way it's done. Okay.
Yeah, as happens in English, there are many times when a synonym, something kind of close to the word, well, words that are similar in meaning, close enough that you can use them interchangeably. That happens. The one thing I want to point out there, at the high level thing, she started using some past, which was not super essential for you, but the ha decidido is she has decided, or she decided to take a bath. So the little subtitle you see is y ha decidido darse un baño relajante, and she decided to take a relaxing bath. And that darse is reflexive. Yeah. See? And she could have just said bañarse, used bañarse, yeah, and just use that. But instead, she chose to use it as darse un baño, give herself a bath. And yeah, that's all that we've got there. See, I think she's kind of easy to understand, though, in terms of her
Yep.
accent. Am I correct?
ujú.
See?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I had one other thing which to me was just amusing and sort of anecdotally might be handy for me in a few months. I think I've told our classes my daughter is going to have our first grandchild like in late June, early July, and they've already picked out a daycare where there's going to be, it's going to be a little bit of bilingual in there. So I've been
Oh,
I've been appointed the Spanish helper for the grandson because of the group in our family there. I'm the only one who
hey,
speaks like 6 words. So I
hey.
just thought this was a great phrase that will come in handy, a few months down the road. And
Mm.
around 6 minutes and 25 seconds, hace caca.
Oh,
Hace
yes. You will need that. Abuelito, grandpa, you're going to need that one. Yes. Uh, she talks about the necessity for why you have books in the bathroom.
Right.
Hacerse, sí, take a poop. Yeah.
Take a poop.
Yes. Yes. And yeah, caca is used for picking up behind your doggy. their little doodles as they take their walk and squat and do their number two business. And yeah, sí, eso es. Bien. Okay, but no hay ningún problema con entender todo. No problem with understanding her, right? She has a
No, very easy.
fairly neutral accent.
Yeah, good video.
Tends to be, yeah. And it's good to hear for just a lesson and to hear, different levels of difficulty of a lesson.
Hmm.
That's a good thing. Um, and next, I want to pick up where we left off, just showing. I want to take another snippet, but not the whole video, but take another snippet because I know this guy is kind of fast for a lot of you. And again, pointing out where some of these reflexives
Okay.
are. And I think we're going to overlap a little bit with where we left off last week, but not by very much. Um, and the idea with this video was just to pick up where the reflexives are sprinkled in, because they will be sprinkled in here and there, but every single verb you hear will not be a reflexive. That is just not the way communication works. So I'm going to do a little quick, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 minutes of this again to just clarify in case anybody had trouble understanding.
Hay una pareja aquí, una pareja de novios. Creo
There's
que se van a
a
sentar.
pair of boyfriend and
Se van a
girlfriend.
sentar ahí quizás y yo no
And notice, no se sientan. A ver is just let's see. A ver just means let's see. It's a throwaway phrase. You use it to start a sentence off, right? Si ellos no se sientan. Si ellos no se sientan, me siento yo. I think this is where we picked up or left off last week. If they don't sit down, I will. And notice he used a reflexive here. Sentarse, sentarse, an AR verb is a reflexive. It means to sit yourself down. Okay, to take a seat, to sit down.
no quiero molestar. A ver, si ellos no se
Yeah, I
sientan,
don't want to bother anybody.
me siento yo. No se han sentado, perfecto.
No se han sentado. And I just want you to notice this little pronoun present. They have not sit down. They did not sit down. And han sentado is just a past idea. That's all. But notice the se has to be in front of this, which is the central verb for one of the past tenses. Okay. No se han sentado. They haven't set themselves down.
No se han sentado, entonces me siento yo, qué bien. Yo es
I'll
que
sit
soy muy
down.
educado, yo soy muy educado, ¿no? Si veo que alguien se quiere sentar, pues, oye, que se sienten ellos, ¿no? Ay, estoy muy cansado,
It's like I'm very polite. If they want to sit down, I'm not going to take up the
tío.
space.
Estoy muy cansado, bueno.
Yeah, he's
que,
very tired.
no
I'm
estoy
not
de
in
forma.
shape.
Pues eso, espero que el sonido esté bien, porque
I hope the sound is
Porque-
okay.
porque
Pues es-
hace un poco de viento.
It's a little bit windy.
Aquello es Londres, ¿eh? No sé,
Aquello, that over there. Here's an interesting little word. Aquello this is used in a very, actually not in the masculine form, but in a general abstract idea form. Aquello means that over there. And
That
he's
over
just
there, okay.
indicating what's out in the distance. That's London out there.
no sé si se ve allí la distancia.
I don't
Es
know,
un
you
poco
can
difícil, ¿no?
see in the
Pero aquello
distance.
allí es Londres.
It's a little
Me
hard,
encanta,
but-
me encanta esta ciudad.
And all of these are just the pronouns again. Me encanta, me encanta. All the mes are just those same pronouns we've been looking at. It's delightful to me. Me encanta is you should always use me encanta together. Me encanta is just an intensification of me gusta. It's the same thing as saying me gusta, that you like something, except it makes it more intense, more like we would say, I love something. Okay. So me encanta, I love it. I like it a lot.
Me encanta esta ciudad. Ay, tengo la mochila aquí detrás, ¿eh? Un momentito, ¿eh? Un
I've got
momentito, tengo la
a
mochila.
backpack behind
Tengo
me.
la mochila aquí detrás, no me había dado cuenta. Me la voy a quitar.
Oh, and here is something. No me había dado cuenta. I hadn't realized. And we're going to this is one of the words we're going to take a look at. Darse cuenta. Darse, it's reflexive with cuenta. Darse cuenta is to realize. And because he's putting it in the past, no me había dado cuenta, I didn't realize. You know, I don't expect you to recognize all the past, but I didn't realize. No me había dado cuenta. The me has to be in front of this conjugated part of this double phrase. No me había dado cuenta. I didn't realize. And now he's going to say, I'm going to take it off. And here's one of our reflexives, quitarse, to take something off your body. And the backpack in this case is where it was around his shoulder, but he's going to set it down. So when you take something off, whether it's a jacket or shoes or your backpack, which was attached to your body, it's quitarse because you're taking it off yourself.
Qué rollo, qué rollo. Es que claro.
But I do want you to notice, because we're going to talk about this a little bit with the backpack thing. Whoop.
Un momentito, tengo la mochila.
I'm trying to get to the right
Me encanta esta ciudad. Ahí tengo la mochila aquí detrás. Un momentito, un momentito, tengo la mochila. Tengo la mochila aquí detrás, no me había dado cuenta.
Me la voy a quitar. Me la voy a quitar. When we have two verbs working together, some of these pronouns are going to go in different places. So I want to show you how the little groups of words work in this particular phrase, because this would be very, very typical. Quitarse is to take something off. But he also wants to roll into the quitarse, the idea of the backpack. But he doesn't want to repeat the word backpack, mochila. So instead of saying la mochila, he's going to replace it with the word it. And since mochila is a feminine thing, it just becomes la. So now he needs the reflexive me, the direct object la. When I combine a couple of pronouns, which is what he's doing, I'm taking it off of myself. It becomes, the human is mentioned first with me. The thing as an it is mentioned next with a la. And then he's got the double verb thing. Voy a quitar, going to remove. Me la voy a quitar. Me la voy a quitar. They have to go in front of that conjugated voy verb, because most of the time in a plain statement of fact, when you're just talk about what is happening, pronouns that are object pronouns have to come in front of the verb. So they have to be in front of that voy. But I'll show you later on, when we use two verbs together, we can also peg the pronouns onto the end of quitar. So that little phrase, me la voy a quitar, I'm going to take it off of myself. Yeah. We could also, because it's a two-verb combo, he could have phrased it as voy a quitármela. Quitármela. We could have taken mela and tagged it onto the very end of quitar and made it all one word. Okay, that's possible. And people will say whichever combination they feel like. Okay. Me la voy a quitar also allows that you can move the me la to the end of quitar and express that as voy a quitármela. They're both correct. They're both the same. Okay. I'm going to take it off, he says.
La voy a quitar. Qué rollo, qué rollo. Es que claro.
Que rollo. This is a kind of a mess. Rollo is just a colloquialism. It's a mess. It's a pain. Something you don't enjoy.
Un día cuando gane mucho dinero, contrataré a un cameraman, ¿no?
Someday when I earn a lot of money, I'll hire a cameraman.
Alguien que me tenga la cámara, pero ahora no, lo tengo yo que hacer todo con una mano, tío. Una mano.
Yeah, I've got the camera, so I'm trying to do everything, with one hand. Yeah.
Tengo que tener la cámara y con la otra me tengo que hacerlo todo, ¿no?
Me tengo que hacerlo todo. I have to do it all myself. Tengo que hacer, I have to do. Me tengo que hacer, I have to do it for myself. So all these little pronouns come rolling in.
quitarme el gorro, quitarme la mochila, en fin.
Oh, take off the backpack.
Es un
Take off
rollo,
my
mi vida es
hat.
un rollo, tío, mi vida es un rollo.
Life is a pain. Mi vida es un rollo. Life is difficult. Life is difficult. Life is hard. Life is hard, man. Tío is just a slang expression. They don't use it in Latin America, but in Spain to say guy or man. Oh, man, life is hard.
Em, ¿Qué estaba diciendo? ¿Qué estaba
What was I saying? He's lost his train of thought. What was I saying? ¿Qué estaba diciendo?
diciendo? Sí, Londres.
Londres.
Ajá, allí está. ¿La veis? Aquí la vista, pues es
La veis. And the veis is a vosotros verb. We don't use it on this side of the pond. La is referring to this la ciudad, Londres, see? La veis, it you see? Okay, so do you see it becomes it you see? La veis?
fantástica. Aquí vengo a relajarme.
Vengo a relajarme. Vengo a relajarme. I come to relajarme is relax. Yeah. It's a reflexive. To relax is a reflexive. Vengo, I come to do this. Vengo a relajarme. I come to relax. And because he's the one doing the relaxing, he doesn't say relajarse. He changes the saying to the me to say, I do this myself. I come to relax. I come to unwind. I come to relax.
A estar tranquilo, a pensar en
Be
mis
calm,
cosas,
to think about
¿vale?
things, okay?
Sí.
And that's it.
Y eso. Bueno, ¿qué estaba diciendo? La
What was I
peluquería.
saying?
A mí,
The barber.
chicos, a mí ir a la peluquería no me gusta. No me
Going to the barber, I don't like it.
gusta nada. Coger los taxis.
I don't like it either. I don't like taxis either.
Tampoco ese tipo de situaciones donde tienes que hablar con una persona así que no conoces.
These situations where you have to be with somebody you don't know very well, but you have to talk to them, I don't like that. And he's going to say they turn out to be uncomfortable. Me resultan muy incómodas. He's talking about the situations. That's why that verb resultan is plural. The situations, they turn out to be uncomfortable for me. And because it's for me, he sticks the me in front of that verb resultan. Me resultan muy incómodas. You might phrase it in English as, I find them very uncomfortable. They turn out to be uncomfortable for me. That's literally how it
Mucho,
is
en fin, me resultan muy incómodas, no sé. Ir al dentista me gusta, fíjate.
Going to the dentist, I like that.
Fíjate tú.
And notice, now he's got a command. Hey, pay attention here. Pay attention. Notice this.
Fíjate tú cómo soy yo de raro, Yo soy muy raro, tío.
I'm a strange guy.
Yo prefiero ir al dentista antes que coger un taxi.
I prefer going to the dentist more than catching a taxi.
O antes que ir a la peluquería. Sí. A mí, mi dentista me cae muy bien.
Oh, here's a great phrase. This is not reflexive, but this is a colloquial phrase. Caer bien, which means to fall well, means when you apply it to people, I like somebody as a person. Me cae muy bien. He falls well on me. That's the way, both sides of the pond, they use this phrase. When you want to express the idea of, oh, I like my neighbor, something that's not a romantic relationship. I like my neighbor. I like my dentist. I like my neighbor's dog, whatever, right? It's me cae bien. That person falls well on me. And the on me part is the me word, but the me has to be in front of the verb caer. Me cae bien. That is a chunk you should, that is good to learn. That person falls well on me. Me cae bien. It's
Me
their way of
cae bien.
saying, I like that. Me cae bien. I like him. I like her. The same verb. Me cae bien. I like them. We just make the verb cae into caen with an N at the end. Me caen bien. Me caen bien. I like them. Okay.
Me cae muy bien, es mi dentista, es muy simpático. Y
I like
además,
the
como
dentist.
tengo
He's
siempre la
really
boca abierta,
nice.
¿no? Así, no, estoy justificado, ¿no? Claro, ir al dentista me gusta más que coger un taxi porque no tengo que hablar con nadie. El tío,
I like the dentist because I don't have to talk to anybody.
yo estoy así, con la boca abierta y el tío
I'm sitting there with my mouth open
no me puede preguntar nada. Bueno, tengo
and can't really ask me anything.
que decir que algunos dentistas
Some dentists are really weird.
son muy raros, ¿no? Porque estás tú así, ¿no? Con la boca
You're
abierta.
sitting there with your mouth open.
Y el tío te pregunta,
And that guy asks you, and notice this is not reflexive, but he asks you a question. And the you, which is receiving the question, has to be phrased as te pregunta. He asks you, right? Te pregunta, you, he asks.
¿qué tal? ¿Qué tal las
How you
vacaciones?
doing? How were
¿Qué
your
tal,
vacations?
qué tal, dónde has estado en vacaciones?
Where did you go on vacation?
¿Qué vas a hacer? ¿Qué
What are
vas
you
a
gonna
hacer en
do?
Navidad? Pero tío,
What are you
¿cómo
gonna
te
do
voy
for
a
Christmas?
contar?
¿Cómo te voy a contar? How am I going to tell it to you? ¿Cómo te voy a contar? How am I going to tell you? And who is receiving the telling a story? It's you. ¿Cómo te voy a contar? How am I going to tell you? You're in my mouth with all the dental instruments.
En fin, no sé. ¿Cómo te voy a contar lo que voy a hacer o lo que he hecho si,
How am I going to tell you what I've
si
done?
tengo la boca abierta y me estás metiendo así, no sé cómo se llaman esas cosas que te meten los
Yeah, I don't know what they call those. Yeah, he's putting inside of my mouth all the stuff that dentists
dentistas,
do.
¿no?
Que te meten los dentistas. Things that dentists put inside of you. See? Los dentistas meten, the dentists put inside of you. Of you is the te part. Not reflexive, but you're still receiving
En
the
fin.
action.
En fin, bueno, nada, que eso, que he venido aquí a dar una vuelta, a darme un paseo.
And darme un paseo. I've come to take a walk, and we'll stop it there. But you'll see again, they're just sprinkled throughout, and that those little pronouns. We're focusing more on reflexives, but anytime somebody receives action, whoever's on the receiving end of the action, a pronoun of who's receiving it will have to be a me, a te, a nos, maybe an el, or maybe a lo, maybe a la, maybe a le. And we'll take a look at some of those later on. But we're going to backtrack a little bit and take a look at how some of these verbs change. I told you we were going to pick up with this one here, and we'll take a look here. How some verbs, and the idea is to show some examples and show how many verbs might be both plain, no pronoun at all, but they might change meaning somewhat when they become reflexive. So we're picking up with this. Not all verbs function as both a plain verb with no pronoun and a reflexive, but many of them do. So we're going to take a look at a few. Arreglar means to either arrange or put stuff in order or fix. Yeah. But arreglarse is going to mean you're doing this to yourself. So anybody want to guess what arreglarse means? If arreglar by itself is to fix.
Dress yourself.
Just
Fix yourself. Yeah. So fix yourself up. This is a way of our saying get ready. When you're getting ready, you are doing stuff with your clothes, your jewelry, if you're a lady, your glasses, your hair, your makeup, all of those activities to get yourself ready to head out the door and go out for the day is called arreglarse, to fix yourself up, to get ready. Arreglarse means you're fixing something all on yourself. Okay? Arreglarse. So in práctica, in practice, I could create a sentence like, las mujeres no se arreglan rápidamente. Según mi esposo, according to my husband, según mi esposo, las mujeres no se arreglan rápidamente. Women don't get ready very fast.
That's true.
Y sí, es la verdad. Por lo general, sí, es la verdad.
No, no, no.
No, no, no.
Sí.
Puedo decir, sí, yo me arreglo bastante bien en poco tiempo para una mujer, for a woman. Pero mi hija, mi hija no se arregla rápidamente. Nunca, nunca, nunca. Ok, bien, vale. Let's take a look at another verb. Meter, all by itself, means you put, it's like poner, but it's more specific. Meter means you're putting something inside of something else. Okay? So, ok, por ejemplo, tengo un bolsillo aquí en la chaqueta en la chaqueta que me tengo puesta así. Hay un bolsillo, pocket. If I put something in this, it would not be poner, it would be meter. Meter. Okay? You put something inside of something else. That's meter. Instead of just on top of a surface. We often hear this used as a reflexive, but it takes on a very different meaning. Meterse is to get involved. Is to get involved. To in some cases it can be like to stick your nose in somebody else's business, that kind of idea. Yeah. So I could say, un ejemplo. We want to look an example of a sentence with that. Perdón. Bumped me out of my keyboard. Mi cuñada, my sister-in-law, mi cuñada se mete en mis asuntos. My sister-in-law gets involved in my
Business.
my stuff. Yeah. En mis asuntos, in my things, in my business. See, se mete. She puts herself inside of my stuff. Se mete. This meterse is used a lot, you know? Yeah. See? Enojar is to anger, but it means that something or a situation or a person or an animal or something angers somebody else. Yeah. But when we make it reflexive, it changes it. It still gets the idea of anger, but when we make it into enojarse, it means it becomes to get angry. And it's talking about your state of mind changing. Yeah. Not the siren angered me or my kid made me mad. It's enojarse, to get angry. To become that way. So it changes it to become or to get in that state of emotions. Okay. Ok. Por ejemplo, ¿sí? El niño se enoja fácilmente. The kid gets angry real quick, easily. Yeah. It's easy for him to get angry. He gets frustrated a lot. ¿Sí? Se enoja fácilmente. ¿Sí? Ah,
Okay.
no nos enojamos mucho. We don't get angry a lot. No nos enojamos mucho. We don't get angry very much. Okay? But get angry. All right?
Marilyn, can
Sí,
we stay on that one just for a second? I'm
sí, sí, sí.
trying to I'm having a little trouble distinguishing those two. So if someone makes me angry,
Sí.
kind of which side of the page does that go on?
Mm,
Does you know like
it could be both.
mi esposa me enoja, my wife
Sí.
makes me angry, or is that right, or is it
Mi
somehow the
esposa me
reflexive?
enoja. Es buen ejemplo, Marcos. Es muy buen ejemplo. Sí. Mi esposa me enoja. Oh, my wife makes me mad. Sí, me enoja. Something she said, something she did. Sí, mi esposa me enoja. Me enoja. Sí. Las reglas en la oficina, the office rules, yeah, me enojan. They make me mad. But también also, if we want to shift the emphasis a little bit and say, I get angry with my wife, I just jigger that around a little bit. I make it reflexive. Me enojo. And let me take this one out so I've got space on the same line. Me enojo con mi esposa is essentially the same sentence, but with a little different emphasis. Yeah. Mi esposa me enoja puts an emphasis on she's the one starting this. And she does it to me. And it's not reflexive in that sense because the me does not match up with the verb form of enoja. Mi esposa me enoja. She is the one who starts. She does something to create a feeling of anger. But now I can change the emphasis and say, I get this way. I am the one getting worked up. So the emphasis just shifts slightly to say, I get worked up with this situation. Me enojo con mi esposa. They kind of say the same thing, but one has a little different emphasis than the other. The reflexive is more of an emphasis of I do this and I get myself worked up into this mood. Yeah? I get myself into this state
Okay.
of emotions. That's the difference. Okay. You might hear it expressed either way. Let's take a look at another one. Alegrar. Alegrar is to make happy. Yeah? Not reflexive. But arreglarse is like enojarse. It's the idea of get. Yeah?
Get help.
I get or I become happy. Yeah? And then it will be reflexive. Let's think of an example. Ah,
I make them happy.
me alegro de escuchar las buenas noticias. I'm happy to hear the good news. Me alegro. I get myself in this state because of hearing this. Me alegro de escuchar las buenas noticias. And it's reflexive. The me matches up with a yo verb form. Me alegro. See? I could make that nos alegramos de escuchar las buenas noticias. We're happy to hear the good news. See? Bien? ¿Entienden? Understand?
Getting there.
Oh, yeah, getting there. Well, getting there is okay. Hola, bebita. Ah, un visitante. Buenos días, chiquita. Ah, okay. So I just want, it's a good idea to be aware that a lot of verbs can go from just plain old vanilla kind of verb to reflexive, and the meaning changes a little bit. Preguntarse means to ask a question. You ask somebody else a question. Preguntarse is literally to ask a question to
Somebody.
yourself.
Oh, yes.
However, the way that this gets expressed in English, I mean, you could say, I ask myself, in kind of a philosophical way, right? But most of the time, it's expressed this way, to wonder. You'll say, I wonder. Yeah. And the way you say, I wonder, means you're asking yourself. And it becomes me pregunto. Ah. Me pregunto. Me pregunto, ¿por qué? ¿Por qué es azul? ¿Por qué es azul el cielo? I ask myself why the sky is blue. Me pregunto. I wonder about that. And if I wonder about it, it has to become a reflexive verb, preguntarse. Me pregunto. Me pregunto. Okay. This one is kind of an important one, but it's going to add on extra words. So, dar is one of those verbs in Spanish you hear a lot in many different ways. Dar is used for lots of colloquial phrases. It's used for plain old giving something to somebody else, like what it exactly means, phrases. But dar, when it becomes reflexive, is typically going to be used for this phrase. And darse cuenta de means to realize. And you should not try to analyze this. It is an expression that it cannot be translated exactly, because if you do, it turns out to me to give oneself an account of. And nobody ever in English is going to say anything like that. I give myself an account of. Nobody says ever in English, but we do say quite a lot to realize something. Yeah. Por ejemplo, sí. Un ejemplo aquí. No manejo. I don't drive. Así que no me doy cuenta del precio de la gasolina. I don't drive, so I don't really realize the price of gas. ¿Sí? No manejo, así que no me doy cuenta del precio de la gasolina, por ejemplo. So, darse cuenta is often used in a past. You may not know how to use the past. I'll tell you the yo version of using this in the past is me di cuenta. And that cuenta word just always stays cuenta. It's not part of the verb. It's a little noun. Me di cuenta is I realized in the past, which is usually the way you're most likely to use it in a conversation, because usually when we talk about realize, it's more past than present meaning. Okay. And we're going to take these two next. Divertir. Divertir means to divert, to amuse. Yeah. Something that to entertain is divertir, right? Divertirse literally means to divert yourself, but we don't use that phrase in English. We say to enjoy oneself. We say to have a good time. So we might either say that as to enjoy myself, I enjoy myself, or I have a good time. That is divertirse. See? Divertirse.
Divertirse.
Okay, so it will be reflexive. Divertirse, to have a good time, to enjoy ourselves. Nos divertimos, por ejemplo. Nos divertimos mucho en el parque. We enjoy ourselves a lot at the park.
In the park.
Yeah, sí. O me divierto cuando voy a fiestas. I enjoy myself when I go to parties. Me divierto. It has to be a reflexive. Me divierto cuando voy a fiestas. ¿Sí? Bien? Good so far?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bien? So the you will not hear divertir used that much. You will hear divertirse used a lot. Okay.
Lot.
Quedar, kind of like dar and quedar are two verbs that get used in a lot of different ways in Spanish. You won't know all of the ways it's being used, but at its core, quedar, not reflexive by itself, just means that something remains, it is kind of like left over. All right. Un ejemplo, ¿sí? No nos queda leche. No nos queda leche. We don't have any milk
Milk.
left over.
Milk.
We don't have any. Here is what's left over, leche.
Okay.
And so we have to conjugate the leftover
Leche,
part for
leftover.
leche, the thing that's left there. Okay? But it's left over to us, like in our fridge. Yeah? Not reflexive, because nos does not match up with a nosotros verb. But this thing is left over to us. Okay? No
Okay.
nos queda leche. We haven't got any milk left over. But when it becomes quedarse has a very specific meaning. And to say, we remain ourselves doesn't make much sense, does it? But what quedarse means when we make it reflexive is to stay in a place. And it could mean to stay in a place just as in waiting, like waiting somewhere, but in a physical space. To stay in a physical space. That's quedarse. Very frequently used when we talk about lodging, hotel arrangements, Airbnb arrangements. That's quedarse. But it could also be if somebody says, hey, stay there, like don't move. They want you to stay in that physical space,
Right.
not set up your bed there, but they want you to wait there. You're in a waiting room for some service or appointment. Yeah. Yeah. Quédate, stay there. Yeah. Not necessarily set up your pillow and blanket, but just stay there. But we use it a lot for staying in a place, as when with lodgings.
Or
Okay.
spot.
So, cuando voy a, cuando voy a Sedona, me quedo en un Airbnb. When I go to Sedona, I stay at an Airbnb. Your lodgings, ¿sí? Cuando voy a Sedona, me voy en un Airbnb. Okay, bien. So quedarse, we use a lot to talk about lodgings when you stay over at a hotel, at somebody's house, wherever it may be. right? But to stay in a place, to kind of take up room waiting there. See? Bien? Good?
Right, got it.
Okay. So what I want you to get a feel for is that from time to time in your journey of listening to all these stories or hearing people talk or reading an article, you'll often hear verbs used maybe by themselves and maybe in a reflexive way. And many, many, many verbs in Spanish can be used in a reflexive way, but it typically will change. And the way it changes may not be consistent. Yeah. You know, like um, ooh, where was it? Oh, and it isn't even on this form. The idea of comer, eat, and comerse, to eat up, gobble up, is not the same difference as moving from quedar to quedarse, to stay in a place. So the way the meaning of the verb changes will not be a consistent kind of change, but it'll shift the meaning of the verb ever so slightly, making it into a reflexive. See? Bien? So just be prepared for that. Okay. Bien. What I want to do next is to show you, which you heard in the video with Juan, with him talking about people sitting down and talking to the dentist and talking to the cab driver and all that. Where do these pronouns go? Because sometimes they will move to different places, which can cause great confusion. Okay. So we're going to talk about where some of these pronouns may move around to. And we could call that idea pronoun placement. And what that means is the word order that you will typically hear. Okay. But pronoun placement with reflexives, with anything that is an object, not just reflexives, but any object pronoun, whether it's a reflexive object pronoun or a direct object pronoun or an indirect object pronoun, where those words go, what the word order is, might vary sometimes, okay? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about when pronouns come before the verb, okay? Which is kind of a general rule, you can say happens in Spanish. Or when do we take those little words, the me, te, nos, se, or even the other object pronouns of lo, la, los, and las? When do those pronouns, those itty bitty words, when do we attach them to the end of a verb? Because sometimes they do. Sometimes they get attached, but many, many, many times they cannot be attached. So what can we say about that to prepare ourselves for listening? Okay, so I don't know if you read ahead to this set of words, but position of reflexive pronoun or any object pronoun, meaning a word that's a direct object, like lo, la, los, or las. A word, a little pronoun that is an indirect object, like me, te, nos, le, and les. Those are indirect. All right. Usually in a regular sentence, a vanilla flavor, meaning plain old verb. Yeah. Whether it's present or past or anything like that. The pronoun comes before, in front of the verb. All right. And this is not typical of English, but it is very typical in Spanish. So in a plain sentence where you're just saying this thing is happening, yeah, this activity is happening, somebody is doing something, a plain old statement of fact, the pronoun will be in front of the verb. So it's me lavo las manos. Myself, I wash. That's the order of the words. Me lavo, right? Me lavo las manos. Or my wife gets up early. Mi esposo se levanta. Se levanta. Temprano. The se must be in front of the conjugated verb in a plain statement of fact, right? Nos vamos de la oficina. We're taking off from the office. We're leaving the office. Nos vamos. Nos must be in front of vamos. So in all these sentences, we cannot say lavome.
Right. No.
No, that's a flat no. That sounds weird, goofy, and strange, and the person you're speaking to will have to think. Nobody ever says mi esposo levantase. That doesn't happen. Yeah, se levanta.
No.
Yeah, it's got to be in front of the verb if we're just talking about a fact. Now, sometimes, however, this word order, this pronoun position might change, might be different. Well, when, you might say. All right. One of the most notable differences, a time when we do attach the me, te, nos, se to the end of the verb, is that if you are giving a do it command, that is called an affirmative command. An affirmative command is just a fancy grammar term, and it means you're telling somebody, do it. Okay? Yeah. You tell somebody, sit down, get up, wake up, let's go. Those are all commands. You're saying, well, we're not really sitting down, but I want you to sit down. So sit down. Yeah. Those are called commands. If a command is a yes, go do it command, an affirmative command, you must attach the pronoun. You don't have a choice. Okay. Just like me lavo must be in that order. Me lavo. These must be in this order. We have to slap the pronoun me, te, nos, se onto the end of the command. So sit down becomes siéntate. I'm going to try to make this a little bit bigger.
Can I ask a question,
Sí,
Marilyn?
sí, sí.
Should you put por favor at the end of it?
No.
Does it depend?
Depende. Depends. Not
Yeah.
always.
Okay.
You know, when you just
Yeah.
tell somebody sit down, that
Yeah.
not necessarily. They might
Okay.
if they want to be super polite.
Right.
If the setting is very formal,
Yeah.
then you add one. But otherwise,
Sit
you
down.
know, you walk into your friend's house and they want to serve you some coffee. Oh, sit down, siéntate.
Right. Right.
Yeah, they probably won't do the por favor. Yeah. You tell people, hey, all of you people, stand, get up. Like we're leaving, we're getting ready to go. Everybody get up.
Right.
Yeah. You are already sitting down. I want you to now not have your butt in the seat anymore, right? And you say it to a bunch of people, levántense, get up. That's a command. And the se gets attached to the please do it command.
Say.
Levántense, levántense. See? Get up. You tell your better half, hey, wake up. You're going to be late. Despiértate. Despiértate. Despierta is wake. Wake yourself up. Despiértate. We have to, because it's a command, you're telling them to do it. We have to tag the te onto the end. See? Bien? Even if you say, hey, enjoy yourselves. Have a good time, everybody. You're giving that command to all your kids as they walk out the door. Have a good time. See?
Right.
Diviértanse, diviértanse, diviértanse. Yeah. So the me, te, no, se will get slapped onto the end. When you hear that happen, it means in this situation, they're telling you to go do something. Yeah.
Mhm.
Even take that first example we have of me lavo las manos. If that becomes a command, you tell somebody, hey, wash your hands, because we do that a lot, right? It's lávate las manos. Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Okay.
Yeah. That's just to one
command.
person. Yeah, one person. Yeah. If it's a whole big group of people, that becomes a plural command. It becomes lávense las manos, right? And notice if you say it to a bunch of people, it cannot be lávate anymore. If
Right.
it's a whole bunch of people, yeah, it's lávense, wash
Love.
your hands, because it's more than one person. See? Yeah. So, an affirmative, a go do it command, you will hear that metenos se flip to a different part of the sentence. Okay?
Yep.
Vale. Okay. Here's another situation. And it's the whole idea of using two verbs together. Instead of I wash my hands, I want to wash. Two verbs. Or I'm going to wash. Or you should wash. When I use two verbs together, yeah, in Spanish, you get a choice of what happens with the pronoun. What order? Oh, when you have two verbs working together, you can attach the pronoun, the me, te, se, nos. You can attach it to the end of the second verb part. Or you can just follow the same rule of me lavo and just use the pronoun before the conjugated, meaning the first verb. Okay. And both ways, both word orders are correct. One is not better than the other. They're both correct. All right. This is when two verbs are working as a team. They're working together to talk about the same activity. Okay. So they're going to be like using one of these verbs with a second infinitive. Okay. And it'll also happen with estar and a gerund. So let's look at examples of how both word orders are correct. Here are two verbs working together. Quiero ducharme. I want to take a shower. Right? Ducharse is to take a shower. Ducharme is I'm doing it to myself. Quiero ducharme. I want to take a shower. I can also take that me and pop it in front of that first verb that is conjugated. Because if the metenos comes in front of a verb, it must be a conjugated verb. So I can also phrase that as me quiero duchar. Me quiero duchar. All right? Both of those are correct. The word order does not matter. Me quiero duchar is just as correct as saying quiero ducharme. That only works because I have two verbs working together, the quiero and the duchar. Okay? All right? Or this question of, is he going to wake up? ¿Va a despertarse? Is he going to wake up?
Say.
That question can be also phrased with the se in front of the va, which is the first verb. Se va a despertar. Se va a despertar. Either position for the word se is okay. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. And this will happen also with estar and an ando yendo kind of verb. Okay? Because that's still two verbs working together. I don't have an infinitive, but I have what we call a gerund, meaning an ing verb. And the ing in Spanish is ando for AR verbs or yendo for ERIR verbs. So we can do the same thing because I have two verbs working together in that kind of structure. So it becomes estamos lavándonos las manos, we are washing our hands. But because I have estamos lavando, two verbs working together, I can also pop the nos in
Nos.
front of estamos. Nos estamos lavando las manos. Nos in front of the conjugated verb. Nos estamos lavando las manos.
Yeah.
Okay?
That
Both are
sounds good.
correct? Yeah, I have a choice.
Hmm.
I can put the pronoun either place. Okay? If I want to talk about putting on sunglasses, meaning I'm doing it right now. Oh, I'm going to put on my sunglasses. See? Estás poniéndote los lentes de sol. You're putting on your sunglasses. Poniéndote. I can pop it onto the second part of the verb.
Got it.
Or I can take the te, put it in front of the first verb that's conjugated. Te estás. Te estás.
Yes, stop.
Te estás poniendo los lentes de sol. Okay? So I get a choice with this. I can do one or the other. Doesn't matter. Okay?
But this is a steadfast rule, right?
This
For
is
all
a
double
steadfast
verbs?
rule. Two verb combination, either position here, slap it onto the second verb, put it in front of the first verb. Either
Okay.
way is good.
Okay.
Either way
Thank
is good. Okay? For these commands, either way is not good. You have to put it onto the end.
Right.
Julie.
If you had both a reflexive and a direct object, can you split them?
No, you cannot. You cannot. You cannot split them. Let's take a look. We're going to create a new slide to, ooh, let me see if I can create it this way. See, mejor, better. Okay. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, I'll take that out later. Okay. Let's go back to the me lavo las manos, because it's a good example. Me lavo las manos. We actually have two objects at the same time here. One is the me part, because it's reflexive.
Right.
One is the hands, because what am I washing?
My hands.
Hands. Because hands are attached to me, I've also got to have the reflexive. So let's say I want to use both of those. And instead of saying I'm washing my hands, you just want to say I'm washing them. And everybody knows you're talking about these things, right? For example, oh, I wash them a lot. I wash them many times. Yeah. Somebody asks you, ¿cuándo te lavas las manos? When do you wash your hands? Me las lavo muchas veces durante el día. I wash them a lot. If I tag on two pronouns, they have to walk together. Me las lavo. And it'll be the human being first, the me. Yeah. And the thing, the actual object, the thing, second as a little pronoun. Me las lavo muchas veces. Okay. Otro ejemplo, another example. Let's talk about taking off your shoes. Te quitas los zapatos cuando llegas a la puerta. Do you take off your shoes when you get to the door? Some people have that rule. Take your shoes off in the house always. Yeah. Some people have that, and that got to do this in my house. Yeah. Some people don't care. Yeah. te quitas. I've got quitarse, reflexive, and I've got zapatos. Well, if you answer the question, you're probably not going to repeat the word zapatos, are you?
No.
Because we've already established that. And I'm not going to say zapatos again because we know you're talking about zapatos. So the word zapatos is also going to become a little pronoun. It's going to become, it can't be a reflexive. It's got to be an objective thing. And it's a masculine thing. So it's going to have to be a los word. Me los quito siempre. Me los quito siempre. I always take them off.
Entrar.
Me los quito siempre al entrar en la casa. I always take them off upon coming in the door, upon going in.
La
See?
casa.
See. Me los quito. And and they have to walk together, those two little pronouns. Me is the person coming off of myself, and los is referring back to the zapatos. Let's look at what happens. Let's take quitar los zapatos. Let's do it in a two-verb phrase. So we see how this works. See? Let's use it with voy a quitarme. I'm going to take off. Voy a quitarme los zapatos. Voy a quitarme los zapatos. I'm going to take off my shoes. Yeah. But because it's I'm going to take them off, meaning I haven't done it yet, but I will pretty soon. Yeah. It means that we're putting it in the near future. Voy a quitarme los zapatos can also be me voy a quitar los zapatos. Right? I can tag it on to the end of verb number 2, quitar. Voy a quitarme. I can put it up in front of the verb number 1. Me voy a quitar. Both of those are correct. What about if we want to add zapatos onto that? We want to make that into a little short word too, because we don't want to keep saying zapatos all the time. Yeah. It can be voy a.
Quitar.
I have my accent mark here. Quitármelos. I'm going to take them off of myself. And in the English, we don't say the myself part, do we? Voy a quitármelos. Voy a quitármelos. And they both have to hang together. They can be attached to quitar. Voy a quitármelos. Or I can slap them up in front of the voy. Me los voy a quitar. Me los voy a quitar. But those two pronouns will have to hang together. Does that make sense to you, Julie? See? Bien. Okay. So now, many times when you're listening to a story, part of the reason we get hung up and we have a hard time following what the person is saying at the speed they're saying it is that these little words start getting shoved in different places. Yeah. And so our brain starts to get jumbled up with hearing these little words adding on to like words we maybe already know, but now we got these other little words thrown in the middle, and it starts to become a big glob of what did that person just say, right? Yeah. Voy a quitármelos. You've got to know already that the los is talking about something they talked about before. Maybe it was zapatos. Maybe in the case of Juan, he was talking about quitarme la mochila. And instead of los as a little pronoun, he had to use la to talk about that, la mochila. Yeah, see? Bien? Does that answer your question, Julie? Now, are you going to like totally understand all of that? You will. You know it's coming. No, because you don't know what's coming when people talk at you. You do not know it's coming. So, will that absolutely sink in 100% today? Probably not. But do know that these pronouns are going to pop up, and they may shift to some different positions. And when they do, that's why they're moving around to different parts of the sentence. Es así. It is just that way. Okay? Bien? Bien?
Bien.
Little introduction. Okay. Vale. What we want to do next is bum. And actually, I'm going to send you part of your homework. I'm going to send you a little, breve. It's brief enough. We can play this. This is going to show you how these things shift around. Yeah, this is this is going to be a good little listening lesson for where pronouns go, what happens. And he's going to talk about pronouns as a whole. Okay. So, let me take this off for a moment. Here's what I'm going to show you. This video is going to be kind of like topping off this topic. It's going to be talking about all of these pronouns, not just the reflexives. We focused on these the last couple of weeks. Yeah. The me, te, se, nos, and se. And we focused on these because these have to match up with the verb form, right? A yo form verb has to get me. A tu verb form has to use te. A nosotros verb has to use nos. Okay, so we focused on that. But this thing of object pronouns, they might not just be reflexive, they might be indirect. You do something to somebody or for somebody. Do something is done for me, or to you, or to him, or to her, that word le. Or it might be a direct object, like the take off your shoes. I take them off. Them, if they're shoes, is los, right? It, if I take off a backpack, is the word la. That's a direct object. So this video is going to talk about the direct object pronouns and the indirect and the reflexive, kind of all of them, and show you how they work together. So it's a good topping off kind of video.
Lo firmas. Se lo dije 1000 veces. Me la prestas. Te la compré ayer. I remember being thoroughly confused by all of these me, te, se, nos combinations when I was learning Spanish, but with a bit of practice, it becomes easier and more automatic. And in the next few minutes, I'll show you how. I also put together a bonus lesson to summarize all of this and give you a few practice exercises. You can download that for free at the link in the description below. Let's start with an example. Te lo compré ayer. I bought it for you yesterday. Te lo compré ayer. To understand this, let's start at the end. Ayer, yesterday. Compré ayer. I bought yesterday.
Now, that's a past verb, but just know he's telling you it means I bought. So, okay. Compré means I bought.
Lo compré ayer. I bought it yesterday. It.
The lo, it talks about the thing that was purchased. Okay.
I bought yesterday. Now, what is this lo referring to? Could be un regalo, un celular, un lápiz, un auto.
So the lo is talking about a thing that is a masculine gender thing. Okay. It's whatever the object is that you actually bought. Regalo is masculine, celular is masculine, lápiz is masculine, auto is masculine, anything. If it were a feminine thing, it would be a la.
Anything masculine, or just a generic it. I'll give you more examples on that in just a minute. Te lo compré ayer. For you, it I bought yesterday.
Now look at how weird that word order is. English word order is not like this. For you, it I bought yesterday. And in case you're wondering, yes, people do think in that order in Spanish. In fact, they are thinking in that order.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of a mind blower, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Because they're not thinking, I have to put this in this order. They're thinking in that order. They're already thinking about who something is going to,
But you, I
what the
bought it
thing
yesterday.
is they bought, and that action. That's order their brain is wired to think in because they've heard it from the time they were born till they were knee-high, sitting with abuelo, abuela, mama, papa, sitting with mom and dad. That's the word order they think in. Just like you think in the order of, I bought it for you yesterday. English thinks in that word order. So if you say, I find this difficult, well, of course you do. It violates the way your brain works. Okay. But the meaning is, I'm doing this for you. That's why we're using the te. And here's the thing that is purchased, the it, lo, and the compré. I did this. And it happens to be a past. Don't worry about it being a past. Just know it's a verb. And if we have one verb, those pronouns have to be in front of that verb. That's the way they think.
So that te is there, it acts as a for you or to you. Te lo compré ayer. So if I bought it for you yesterday, is that te lo compré ayer? How would you say I gave it to you yesterday?
And you don't know, the I gave
Te
is,
lo di ayer. So the order here goes person, thing, verb. Here goes person, thing, verb.
this is the important thing. Person that you're doing it for, the thing that
And what you did.
is receiving the action of the verb and the verb. That's the word order. Person, thing, verb. Not the person doing it. The person who's on the receiving end. Okay?
Person, thing, verb. Te lo di, te lo compré. And you can remember that because it's alphabetical. PTV. So we don't say lo te di or lo te compré, but te lo di, te lo compré. Sometimes you can see these words in different positions in a sentence. I'll explain that in just a minute. Here's another example using lo, but the lo here is generic. Te lo dije ayer. I told you yesterday. I told it to you yesterday. Here, lo just refers to it. There's no grammatical gender. I told it to you, the thing.
It's just talking about information. Yeah. So when we're talking about like he told it to you, that it does not have a set gender. It's an abstract thing. And anything abstract will use the word lo to talk about it.
So we can refer to it with the generic lo. To you, it I told yesterday. Now, sometimes we don't say lo, but la. And that's when the it refers to a feminine thing or a female person, like la computadora. La computadora te la presté la semana pasada. The computer, I lent it to you last week.
But the word order is to you, it, meaning the computer, la, I loaned, presté. So that person with the te is not doing the action, they're on the receiving end. Okay? They're borrowing something, they're getting something from you. See? Te la presté, I loaned it to you.
To you, it I lent last week. Or, ¿quieres una manzana? Te la lavo si quieres. Do you want an apple? I'll wash it for you if you want. For you, it I'll wash.
Yeah. For you, it I'll wash. That's the word order they're thinking in. Te la lavo. Te la lavo. For you, it I'll wash.
Te la lavo. Now, sometimes we are talking about computadoras, manzanas, carros, so plural. And that's when you'll see it go from lo or la to los or las. Las computadoras te las presté la semana pasada. Or los archivos te los envío ahora. The files, I will send them to you now. To you, them I'll send now. So let's say I'm talking about los regalos, the presents. And I want to say, I bought them for you. So, los regalos and compré. How would I form that sentence?
How would we turn los regalos into a them, a shorter word? Can't be a metenos yet. It pays attention to that idea of regalos, yeah? Masculine and plural, los. It'll change into a little word that stands in for the whole idea of los regalos, los.
Te los compré. Te los compré.
For you, them, I bought. Te los compré.
For you, them, I bought.
Te
Wow.
los compré. I bought them for you. Okay. In English, the word order is who's doing it first. I bought them, those things, for you. But it's for you, the things I bought. Te los compré. Te los compré. Bien?
Where los refers to los regalos. To keep it simple, all of these examples have been with te, to you or for you. But of course, if somebody else is involved, we need to swap te for a different pronoun, for me.
Okay. And I'm going to stop it there because I just wanted to show you and because this dovetailed very nicely with Julie's question, yeah? When I got two things and they're hanging together there. Okay. Vale. We're going to shift gears a lot because you're going to have an assignment.
Oh boy.
Ooh, sí. Bien. Okay. No, es fácil. It's easy. This has nothing to do with object pronouns. This is something for reading. It's easy. We're going to shift gears and just talk about something else. I mean, you might use pronouns and maybe, but yeah. Okay. We're eventually going to talk about this thing.
It's a boomerang.
Esto.
What is it called?
Es un boomerang. Oh, yeah. Okay. A ver. And we're just going to do a little introduction here to something you're going to read. And el título, ¿Cómo desprenderte de objetos con valor sentimental? You might not know what this word means, but you probably can figure out some things. Objetos con valor sentimental is talking about
Objects that are sentimental to me.
objects with sentimental value. Valor is value. Objects with sentimental value. ¿Cómo desprenderte? How to get rid of.
No.
How to take them off your shoulders.
Right.
That's why the te is there. You personally, how to dump sentimental crap sitting around your house.
Very
That's what this
difficult.
is about. Esto. No lo uso. I don't use it. See? Es de mi esposo hizo esto. My husband did this as a kid. See? Tiene valor sentimental.
Mental.
It has sentimental value because he carved it. Okay? Esto sí lo hizo cuando era adolescente, when he was a teenager. Tiene valor sentimental. It has sentimental value. No lo usa. He does not use it. En 40 años, 40
years.
años,
40 years.
no lo usa.
But it's got sentimental value.
Y ahora lo tengo yo. So now I have it. Y tengo que encontrar un espacio para guardar esto. I need to find space to keep this thing. No lo uso. Él no lo usa. Nunca. Pero tiene valor sentimental. Okay. Vamos a leer aquí. And this is only, it's a 2-page article, but we'll get a start on it today so you'll get a rolling feel of how this works. Right? Hay objetos que producen cierta alegría. There are objects that producen. They producen es como en inglés. They're objects that produce, ¿sí? Cierta alegría. They create happiness, ¿sí? Pero otros solo ocupan espacio, but other things only occupy
Space.
space. We might say take up space in Spanish. En español es ocupan espacio. Ocupan espacio. Física y emocionalmente. Physical space and emotional space, ¿sí? Aquí algunos consejos. Here are some bits of advice. Para deshacerte, to undo yourself of, to get rid of, deshacerse, get rid of, de lo que no necesitas, how to get rid of what you don't
Need.
need. Ok. Y vamos a empezar aquí. A Kim Allen no le gusta acumular cosas. Kim doesn't like to accumulate things, ¿sí? Pero cuando se trata de algunos de sus objetos más sentimentales, but when it's about, se trata de, means something special. It means it's about. It's just a phrase, that's what it means. Notice it is reflexive. It is reflexive. It just is. And you just have to accept it's a reflexive verb. It has a special meaning. And that special meaning of se trata de is it's about. Pero cuando se trata de algunos, but when it's about some, de sus objetos más sentimentales, some of her most sentimental objects, le cuesta abandonarlos. Le cuesta. Le cuesta means it's hard for her. It's hard for her to
Discard.
abandon. What is this los that's sticking on the end of this? It is them.
Them. Abandon them.
Abandon them. Get rid of them. Dump them. Yeah? ¿Sí? Bien? Okay. El primero de la lista, the first thing on the list, ¿sí? Es una criatura de cerámica. Criatura.
Ceramic
Creature.
A ceramic creature. A little ceramic thingy of something alive. Yeah? Que hizo su hija hace años. That her daughter made hace años.
Years ago.
Years ago.
Years ago.
The first thing on the list is a little ceramic animal. A criatura there could be like little animal of some kind that her daughter made years ago. Tiene solo un ojo. And now we're talking about the criatura here. Tiene solo un ojo. It has only one eye. La lengua suelta. It's got, la lengua here doesn't mean a language. It means, so we're describing la criatura. It has its tongue, suelta, hanging out. That's what suelta means. So here's how the criatura looks. Okay, vale, sí. Tienen una idea. You guys have an idea. It has just one eye. Tiene un solo ojo, la lengua suelta, y un mechón de pelo, sí, azul. And it has a lock of blue hair. It's some little animal she made. We don't know exactly what it is. La colocó, she put it, la colocó en un lugar destacado, cerca del lavabo, pero siempre la hace sonreír. La colocó, and I'm going to simplify this a little bit for you because it's got some past here. La colocó, she put it. So notice, it she put. La colocó, she put it in a place where it would stand out. Okay? Un lugar destacado, a place that would stand out. cerca del lavabo, near the wash basin. Because it makes her
Wait for a quick second.
sonreír. It makes her
Smile.
smile. Siempre la hace sonreír. It makes her smile. Okay, bien. Pero hay otros recuerdos, but there are other souvenirs que no le producen, that do not produce for you or for somebody. The for somebody is the le word. Que no le producen la misma alegría. There are other things that don't produce the same happiness. ¿Sí? Como los recuerdos y las obras de arte que le hacen herendado sus parientes, like the souvenirs and the artworks that you've inherited from your parents. I got a box full of those sitting, I kid you not, right next to me. Y que solo ocupan espacio física y emocionalmente. And they just occupy physical and emotional space. Okay? So in other words, the junk that we have sitting around our house that, your mother-in-law sent you or your mom sent you and you really don't want it, but they think it should be important to you, all that kind of junk. Okay, y aquí, con suerte, with luck, con suerte me voy a jubilar a los 67 años. With luck, I'll retire at 67 years old, dijo Alan. Alan said, quien tiene 52 años, who is 52. Y vive en Nueva York, and she lives in New York. And we've got our jubilarse. And notice, me voy a jubilar. I've got the voy a, one verb, jubilar, two verbs working together. Me voy a jubilar. I'm going to retire at 67. See? ¿Realmente quiero ocuparme? Do I really want to be busy with, be occupied with todo este exceso, all this excess de cosas? Entonces, do I want to be occupied with all this stuff then? No. No quiero estar, no, quiero estar divirtiéndome. No, I want to be having a good time. And notice we've attached the me to divirtiendo. No, quiero estar divirtiéndome con mis amigos y mi familia. No, I want to be having a good time with my friends and family. Disfrutando de la vida que tanto me ha costado construir. Enjoying the life that I have worked so hard to build. Okay. Now, we did this together. I am going to add some little definitions here and there so that this will go faster when you read it. Yeah, see? But I want you to notice that sometimes we have reflexives. This is not sentar, but sentirse, to feel a certain way. So if somebody feels uncomfortable, it'll be se siente incómoda. She feels uncomfortable. See? So we'll do this last one and then we'll leave off for the day. Y sin embargo, and nevertheless, y sin embargo, Ellen se siente incómoda. Ellen, the lady they're talking to, feels uncomfortable, se siente incómoda, con la idea, with the idea, de desechar, of throwing out, desechar las reliquias familiares, throwing out the family relics. See? The stuff she inherited. Bien? Vale. I will plug in things here and there. So you'll notice some reflexives here and there, and I'll have some little words for that I'll define so that you don't have to go looking up every single word. Your assignment is going to be bring in something you want to get rid of next week. Show us what it is, or it can be a picture on the internet. You'll have the ability to share a picture that you saved on the internet if you want to do it that way. Tell us why you want to get rid of it. Why you need to keep it, but why you want to get rid of it. ¿Sí? ¿Bien?
Okay, bien.
Vale. Okay. ¿Todo bien? All good?
Okay.
Ok, vale, magnífico. Entonces, sí, entonces nos vemos, sí. Espero que tengan muy buena semana. Hope you have a really good week. Diviértanse, have a good time. Ah, bien. ¿Sí? ¿Todo bien? ¿Todo bien?
Todo bien.
Okay, vale. So bring in a thing you want to check out. Tell us what it is, why you have it, and yeah. Why you struggle to get rid of it. Okay, vale. Eso es todo.